Well, hello and welcome to another virtual wellness talk. We've got 30 minutes and my name is Michelle Hart. I'm a clinical nutritionist of over 2 decades, and literally I'm on a mission to help the world be a healthier place and share the truth about health. So welcome to today's talk. So today we're going to actually be talking about 10 ways to visibly change your body in 30 days. And what you're going to learn today is, can you actually really do that? The answer is yes, you can. And before I go into the how to do it, I just want to kind of give you an overview with a few principles. So the first one is the healthier the metabolism, the more actual calories you can consume without gaining weight. So we want to really boost and have a robust metabolism so that, if you can eat more food, because really it's the food with the nutrition is going to help you with better health. So you want to make sure that you're eating enough calories, but you need a good metabolism for that. Second thing is, the other principle is you want to make sure that you have a good amount of muscle mass on your body. Because when you do, this is where you're going to have dramatic, a visual result with more muscle mass. It's the muscle that kind of gives the appearance of health and a positive visual appearance. And when I go through these 30 days, we wanted to have very little wiggle room, because the less wiggle room, the better your results. Okay, so you actually need to mentally plan ahead. I'm going to do this for 30 days and I'm going to do my very best. And you actually just want to go all in. Okay. And so while I go through this, this 30 days, by following the 10 ways, you will absolutely for sure see a visible change in your body and your health, but it's only a short-term thing. After the 30 days, you want to know that you've got to, shift things after that. So this is just a short-term thing that will actually help you. But then after that, you want to make sure that you're doing like a post-30 recovery time. And I'm going to show you what that looks like as well. Otherwise, you can actually have a slowdown of metabolism, and you don't want to have that because that would be a rebound effect. So talking about metabolism, how do you even know if you have a slow metabolism or a good metabolism? Or if you're somebody who feels like you always have to eat very little just to maintain your weight, then you know that you have a slow metabolism. And if you start to venture up eating more food and you gain weight really quickly, you know that you have a slow metabolism, which isn't a good thing, okay? Especially in today's modern world with all the temptations, this is something you really want to look at. So how do you know if you have a good metabolism? Well, you have a good metabolism if you're able to eat a good amount of calories for your body weight, and you have a good state of well-being. So for example, if you're like 130 or 150 pounds, and you're eating, 1,700, 2,000 calories, you're in a pretty good place. So basically this program that I'm going to go with you today is going to work. It's a quick fix, but it's really not for somebody who isn't very well and who's new to the weight loss game. Because there's things that we need to do before doing something like this to get you into a better shape and a good metabolism before you start to do these 10 things. And I'm going to share with you what I mean by that. And then again, I did preface this before, after the 30 days, you don't want to keep following this advice. This is like a quick fix. Yes, you will see visible changes pretty dramatically, but after that, you do want to make sure that you follow the post recommendations after. So what are you going to expect from this? Well, if you're already lean, relatively lean, you will actually, by following this, you will look in the mirror and you will for sure 100% see visible changes. You will start to see more tone. You will start to see your skin will improve. You will start to melt away that extra 5-10 pounds very easily. And how much? Well, basically we're looking at about 1 to 2 pounds of body fat reduction per week. So in 4 weeks, you're looking at about 4 to 8 pounds of body fat loss. So that will really, really shift things in the mirror for you. And also maybe your health as well. Well, likely because you're getting rid of the extra body fat. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through the 10 ways right now. And if you find this to be a little bit too strict, that's no problem at all. At least it gives you an idea of what 30 days would look like. You could massage this kind of a little bit more and spread it out over the 90 and 120 days if you find this a bit too strict and you're not quite ready for something like this, okay? But at least it gives you an idea of what to do. So if you're, again, looking to have visual changes and you really want to do this within 30 days, step one is always, you've got to cut your calories. And you're going to want to cut them 500 to 1,000 calories below your maintenance. And I'm going to talk about, if you're not sure what your maintenance is, I will share with you exactly how to find that. But this is the first step you need to do, is you actually do need to cut your calories slightly. And you would go, well, how would I know if it's 500 or 1,000 calorie below maintenance? Well, if you're already eating like a 1,700 calorie diet, you don't want to cut it 1,000. That's way too low. 700 calories a day is way too low. But if your calories are pretty high, then you can start to drop a little bit more calories, okay? And why this works is what you're doing is you're literally sending the signal to break down body fat by tapping into its own body fat reserves. You're basically forcing the body to do that. But again, you will see visual changes. You will burn the body fat and in the 30 days. So how to do it? Well, how would you know what your maintenance calories are? I really like this personal toolkit. It's very efficacious, and it's from the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive Kidney Disease. It's called the Body Weight Planner. So you can Google this, you can find it, and you would go, okay, well, this is how I'm going to find out exactly what my maintenance calories are. And so it's super easy. All you do is you plug and play. You plug in your current weight, your sex, your age, your height, your physical activity. There'll be a drop down box, and then you could, find what works for you, which level works for you. And then you're going to want to put your goal weight and then 30 days. And then from doing that, it will actually drop down the exact amount of calories for maintenance. And then you would titrate down 500 or more from your maintenance calories. Everybody kind of needs to know what their maintenance calories is anyway. So I think this is good for just overall health to even know. Here is the link here. So this is what I use for my clients to actually figure out, based on their goals, how much calories they need for the day and then for the week. So step one is, yes, you need to cut your calories for this amount of time. All right. The second step is we've got to increase your daily steps, the daily steps. And so so we're going to talk about how you're going to do that, but why is this working? Well, because it's called, you are basically moving around throughout the day and improving your body fat. You're reducing your body fat from NEAT, non-exercise thermogenesis, which means that you're not actively going to the gym to burn fat, just working out, just walking throughout the day and just being active. They actually find that fidgeters have a better metabolism. Those that kind of like move around more than sit have a better metabolism. So it's like what you do on a daily basis will really help to improve your metabolism overall and burn body fat. And so for the first week, we're really going to make sure that you're going to hit the 10,000 steps. And so I'll share with you how to do that, but really you want 10,000 steps for the first week. The second week, you're going to want to look at titrating that up slightly to about 12,000 steps. Third week, you're 14,000 steps. And then the fourth week, which is the final week of this 30 days, you're 16,000 steps. So you're just titrating your steps slowly over the 30 days. And how you're going to do that is you're going to, again, track. So you're going to get a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, and you're going to track how many steps am I actually doing. And a really super easy way to actually get this done is at lunch, take walks during your lunch breaks. Unless you're going to be part of this talk, make sure you join these. But no, outside of this, take your walks during lunchtime. The other thing is park farther away from stores. It does make a difference. If you're going to go grocery shopping, carry your groceries, park farther away. Housework really, really helps as well. So move around, do your housework, and then after meal walks. So I've actually been testing this myself. After dinner, I would do a 20-minute walk, and I have noticed a difference in my digestion and how much leaner I can get just by walking after dinner. So your step two is you're going to increase your steps. Okay. So step three is we've already discussed your maintenance calories, dropping that down about 500 to 1,000. And you're going to think about, okay, well, what am I going to eat for these calories? What are these calories going to be consumed of? Well, make sure 100% that you keep your protein high. And what you're doing is you're actually cutting your carbs. And I'm not saying that carbs are bad. I'm just saying we're cutting the carbs to visually look more appealing, because I don't know if you've noticed this, but when you increase your carbs, you do look slightly puffy. You do retain water. There's water retention, right? And so this could, you know, maybe you're not really happy about that. So to be visually more appealing and you want to look more cut or toned, you want to actually reduce the carbs. And there's another reason why this is important to keep your protein up and your carbs down, is because protein and fats are satiating. And when you're cutting your calories, we don't want to be hungry the whole 30 days. And so this will really help to stave off hunger. The protein and the fats will stave off hunger. But if you're just eating mainly carbs, you're actually going to feel hungry all the time. The third reason why this works is because carbs aren't really essential. You can actually make sugar, which is carbs, out of protein. So carbs are not essential, but protein, fat are essential. That's why they're called essential amino acids, for a reason. And that's why they're called essential fatty acids. They are essential to your body for body function. They must come from the diet. Your body cannot make them. But you can make sugar out of protein. So in this sense, what are essential is the protein and the fat, okay? And you're also going to, when you start to cut down the carbs, we're going to stop the cravings as well. So I don't know if you notice this, but when you up your carbs, sometimes the cravings go up too. And you don't want to have these cravings again, because you're going to then be knuckle fisting your way through the 30 days. And this isn't what we want to do. We want to make this as easy as possible so that you see visual effects in the most healthiest way as possible. Okay. So now we're going to talk about how we're going to do that. Well, we're going to have some carbs, but just think about the carbs that you're going to put into your body is going to be more fibrous vegetables. And so those would be like above the ground vegetables. Think of a garden, just eat out of a garden. You know, some of the below the ground vegetables have good fiber, but really you want to eat more of the above the ground vegetables. And when it comes to fruit can be very healthy. Just make sure that they're berries. And that they have seeds in them, because seeds have the fiber in them. Again, when you're having fiber, it slows the glucose so that it balances blood sugar, and then you don't feel hungry all the time, and the cravings go away. So we want the carbs, just make sure that it's these types of carbs. Whole grains are fine. I highly recommend that you soak and sprout them. It's not even that difficult. It's super easy. I was just talking to Genevieve about that. So you can, yeah, for sure, have the whole grains, just limit them, eat mainly vegetables and fruit. But with the whole grains, we're thinking more like rice, quinoa, these kind of things, and make sure they're soaked and sprouted and not wheat. Wheat would be an obesogen. I would not consume wheat. So the toolkit. So I'm going to give you some like game-changing toolkits that I use to help my clients get results quicker, faster, and easier. I have a toolkit called That Clean Life. And what I do is I plug and play the amount of calories that they need for the month. And then it breaks it down for the day. The amount of protein, I put that in first because that's non-negotiable. And then the carbs are low and the fat is where it's at. So this is a really good tool to use when you know the calories that you're looking to consume in an easy fashion, and it will actually give you a meal plan just like that. Okay, so it's called That Clean Life. So that's a toolkit I use, super easy and really good. So now we're going to move to step 4. So step 4 is avoid all processed foods. So these are convenience foods. These are packaged foods. These are processed foods. They're not really actually foods, which I'm going to get into in a minute. You actually just want to eat foods from nature, natural foods, and foods that are grown in your environment would be the best. Remember, this is only for 30 days. So if you can just really focus on just real foods and avoid packaged foods, you're going to be very, very successful. And why does this work? Well, would you believe that processed foods, they hire scientists, chemical scientists, and what they do is they put chemicals into the foods to make you want to eat more. Well, then what you're doing is you're actually consuming more calories than you think you are. And then you're wondering why you're not getting results. It's because you are overeating. You're eating too much energy that the body requires for you to, see visible changes. So it's it kind of hijacks your brain. There's like this dopamine response where it's pleasure, 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 but really it's not good for your health. And so it will disrupt that mechanism. So you want to make sure that you avoid all processed foods for that, because it's going to increase your hunger because you're going to want more, and it will increase your cravings too because of the dopamine hit. You want to keep your brain keeps saying, oh, that tastes so good. I want more. I want more. I want more. And then it'll crave it. And then you wonder why you have all these cravings. It's because your brain's been hijacked from the processed foods. The other thing that is interesting is when you purchase processed foods, and on the back, it will tell you how many calories are on the processed food package. Would you believe that they are allowed to have a 20% variance to the calories that are on there? So what that means is, say you're having a protein bar and it says that it's 200 calories, you could actually be consuming 240 calories. This is what's allowed. They are allowed to do this. And for those that, these companies know this. And so they're going to want to, so it's just not right. So anyways, what you're going to want to do instead is you're going to want to think about one ingredient foods. So think about foods that have one ingredient instead of packaged foods, which I'll talk about in a minute. The other thing that's really interesting is processed foods, would you believe it or not, they actually use your own nutrition to try and break it down. So you're actually, in the long term, you're creating nutrient deficiencies because again, your body has to try and break this food down, which really isn't food. It's using your own nutrition, and then you're depleting your body of the nutrients that your body actually needs to be healthy and to have good weight. And some of those nutrients are very important B vitamins. Some of them are chromium for blood sugar stabilization. Some of them are magnesium for helping you relax and have energy during the day, and then zinc. So just know that that is happening as well. And the last piece about processed foods is they're actually not even real foods. They're not. They're food-like substances. So it's not real food. Okay, we have to call it the way it is. Hey, once in a while, after the 30 days, of course, no problem at all. Just know what you're doing and enjoy it. But really, for the 30 days, you really want to be as tight as possible with these 30 days. Okay, and so how are we going to do that? Well, instead of having processed foods, you would be having real foods, real whole foods. Think about one ingredient foods and combine them into a nice meal. Think about fruits, think about vegetables, think about starches like rice, potatoes, quinoa, protein, and the good healthy fats. What I mean by healthy fats is not canola oil, not grapeseed oil, but more like coconut oil, butter. Butter and olive oil would be really, really good. Olives, avocado oil, but not canola oil, not grapeseed oil, and avoid the vegetable oils because they're oxidating and omega-6. So we don't want to do that. So what's the toolkit? Well, I do provide my clients a simple 4-step diet so they exactly know what to do. But there'll be others out there that you can follow that have just like real ingredients that you can do. This is the one that I provide for my clients so they know what they're doing. But it's really good to have these cheat sheets on hand to make it super simple and for you to be successful. So that's step 4, eat real food. Step 5 is, the other piece is so important. We're going to want to eat 1 gram of protein. I should put protein in there. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. This is for anybody who wants to be healthy, especially if you want to see visual changes on your body. Because it's super important for you to do this. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight and more. You may want to think about even adding more. And the reason for that is because protein breaks down into amino acids. Amino acids are what build the muscle and get you toned. You're toned because you have muscle. Okay, you need to put the building blocks in there to get toned to have the muscle. And if not, and you're on this program and you're not having enough protein, then you run the risk of weight regain because you've lowered your metabolism, okay? So we want to make sure that you're really prioritizing this protein during these 30 days. The other thing about protein is it's super satiating. It's so that you don't feel hungry all the time, and then you don't overeat, okay? And it tames the cravings again. So if you have sugar cravings, if you're suffering from sugar cravings, then you're going to want to think about adding more protein into your diet. You'll find that your sugar cravings go away because you're satiated and you're not wanting that. So this is super, super important. So how are you going to do it? Well, you're going to calculate how much protein, per pound of, so you're going to calculate how much is going to work for you. But then every meal that you have, really think about consuming 30 to 50 grams of protein per meal. And the reason for that is because you need this one amino acid called leucine. We need a certain amount per meal to send the signal for protein muscle synthesis, which means that it's telling your body every time you eat to build more muscle. This is your goal, which gets you tone, which then builds metabolism, which then you're going to see visual improvements in the mirror. And so what does that look like? It basically looks like the palm of your hand would be about 25 grams of protein. 2 palms of your hand or 2 decks of cards are about 50 grams of protein. That's an easy visual, but there'll be a lot of tools out there that you can use to know exactly how much, okay? So number six, we want to increase our fiber intake. And why we want to do that is because fiber stabilizes blood sugar. Fiber keeps you satiated, again, so you don't overeat, because remember, we are lowering our calories for the short amount of time. And you don't want to, again, be feeling like you're hungry, you have cravings, and you're, all these things. So fiber is going to help you feel satiated and full. And so the other piece about fiber is it's food for your good bacteria in your gut. So it's really going to help support digestive health. And one of the species that it supports is called the Bacteroides species. These Bacteroides species are found in lean individuals. So every time that you eat fibrous vegetables, fibrous fruits, you are giving these Bacteroides food for them to grow, and they will increase the colony. And then you will find that you will just get lean just by doing that. They're prebiotics. The other side of the coin would be the firmicutes. Those are the ones that are found in obese people. So sugar is going to feed the firmicutes, and processed food will feed the firmicutes species. Those are found in obese people. Again, we don't want to do that. We want to increase the Bacteroides species. The other thing it does is when you're eating this fiber along with the water, you're going to assist in better bowel movements. So that way you don't feel like you're bloated. You don't have like that pregnant tummy by the end of the day, and you feel clean and lean, because you want to have 1 to 3 bowel movements every single day. And you will see that in the mirror with a flat stomach. So that's the reason with the fiber. Everyone has their own fiber threshold. So you'll find that for yourself, and it does change. Just keep an eye on it and just make sure that you're eating these real foods that have the fiber with the water, and then keep these bowels going. So the fiber that I recommend is the vegetables. We talked about the garden, the berries that have the seeds in them, like strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, all colored berries. They're full of antioxidants, which are really good for anti-aging because they quench the free radicals that cause aging, but they're also super low in calories, really low in sugar, and high in nutrient value. So we want to think about those. So number 7 is, we talked about lowering your calories, but every 4 to 7 days, you want to give yourself that spike, so that of extra carbs. That way it'll keep the thyroid healthy. It will also, not only that, it will keep you psychologically consistent throughout the 30 days. Because if you're always lowering your carbs, it can be really difficult just to knucklefish your way all the way through the 30 days. So every 4 to 7 days, I would just give yourself a little extra carbs, just because carbs taste good also. And then you feel like you're not really depriving, okay? It also gives you a bit of an energy boost, because the carbs will give you an energy boost and that extra fuel for the harder workouts we're going to talk about in a minute. But you do want to spike up the carbs to do that. Well, how are we going to do that? So a really good strategy is like every 4 to 7 days, think about low carb, low carb, low carb, and then high carb, or low carb, low carb, low carb. Like you just want to put in, you know, every 4 days, a higher carb day. That's really all you have to do. You can even do low carb, medium carb, then high. So it's what you're going to play around with. Again, this is all about learning about your body. And the more metabolically healthy you are, the more you can kind of have more wiggle room. It's called metabolically flexible. But if you're not so metabolically healthy, then you actually have to be really strict. You can't really titrate the carbs too high for too long, okay? Because the body, when the sugar comes in, it's going to store it as fat. But when you're metabolically healthy, it will actually store it in your liver and your muscles more than it would fat, because you're more metabolically healthy. Those are called glycogen reserves. So with these high carb days, we're not talking cheat day. We're not talking, oh yeah, I'm just going to grab all these chips and have that as my carb. No, we're going to have sweet potatoes or yams or more potatoes or more rice, more of the starchy carbs. We're going to stay on the whole food plan and stay away from the processed carbs, processed food. Number 8, we're going to lift weights. We're going to lift weight. I'm not saying an hour 3 days a week. I'm just saying do a full body workout 3 days a week. So these 30 days, really you want to guard this with your time, put it in your calendar, 3 days a week, you want to do a full body. And maybe it's 20 minutes, as long as it's a full body workout, compound exercises. Because this is what's going to build the muscle. It's going to boost the metabolism. You're going to see a visual change in the mirror quite quickly when you're also titrating your calories the way that I've discussed. So why does this work? Well, because 3 days a week gives you enough frequency to tell the body, okay, build muscle. Okay, you're sending the signal to build the muscle. And you want to focus on compound lifts, the ones that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck, not just like biceps, no, like squats. And I'm going to talk about which ones, but so multi-joint lifts. It's going to send a loud signal to say, hey, get stronger, build muscle. Okay, the more muscle you have in the body, the better visually you will look, and the easier, faster your fat loss. Okay, and so the key is to build muscle, right? So how are we going to do this? Well, the type of exercises that we're going to think about are squats, and we're going to think about presses. We're going to think about like a chest press, overhead press, like shoulder press, rows, seated rows for the back, and lunges. These are kind of the ones I want you to think about. And so these would be 3 days a week. You would do a full body workout with these types of exercises. And then in between those days, we're going to want to think about mobility work. We're going to want to think about even trigger sessions, which are the lagging parts, like a few, you know, like maybe your buttocks is lagging. Maybe it's not where you want it to be. So you just want to remind it, don't fall asleep, you know, do a few, you know, butt exercise, just a few butt exercises in between the compound movements. And you'll find that that particular part will become how you want it. Okay. And then walking. So these are the toolkits that I use. I remember reading this book when I was in Kelowna, British Columbia. I had it in my office. The Body by Science, it's incredible. Doug McGuff, he actually gives plans in there. And these are these types of exercises in like 20-minute, 30-minute workouts, and they work. What I do for my clients is I actually use the MAPS program, the MAPS fitness products. And so I have a bunch that I could choose from, and I choose the one that's going to work for my client, but they will get exactly what they need with something like this. But you do want a scripted product. You want a scripted program. You don't want to just go in there and not really sure what to do. You really want to know what you need to do by following the right program. But remember, it's full body workout compounded. So step number 9. Okay, we really need to emphasize your sleep. This is one area that most people just kind of like think it's not important. It's super important. Okay. We want to prioritize your sleep, especially for these 30 days for everything to work. And so why do we want to do this? Well, first of all, I don't know if you knew this, but when you're sleeping, you burn the most amount of fat. When you're at rest, you are burning the most amount of fat. And what happens is if you don't have a good sleep, it actually wreaks havoc on your hormonal system. It changes your cravings because you notice that if you don't have a good sleep, you typically crave sugar and more chocolate and more coffee. And then you're not really so motivated to like go to do your workouts. So that's why sleep is so, so important. How are you going to do it? Well, every night, you want to go to bed at the same time every night. You want to set that circadian rhythm, okay? Every morning, you'll wake up at the same time, okay? And it's not like Saturday night, I'm going to go out and then Sunday, I'm going to sleep in. No, for the 30 days, you really need to be vigilant and go, no, 30 days, it's a challenge for me. I'm going to make sure that my schedule is go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. This is one of the most important steps, okay? And yeah, it can be difficult because likely you're a hard charger. You want to take care of everybody else. 100% understand that. But for just the 30 days, if you want to give this a shot, you will notice a huge difference how you look and feel. And you'll probably keep doing it, just this regular routine with the sleep after, because you'll notice how good you feel, okay? And how good you are for everybody else as well. And it's super important for your success. So what I do is I actually give my clients a cheat sheet. What that means is just follow these steps and you'll get the best sleep of your life. And we just go through them and we find what they're missing pieces, and then they start to sleep well, and then they regularly sleep well. So this is what I do. There'll be others on the internet, just, there'll be things like that, but really just find ways where you can get that good sleep. Number 10, this is going to be probably the most challenging. Just for 30 days, no alcohol, zero junk food, zero anything that would counter the end goal, which is visible changes in 30 days. Remember, this is only 30 days. So the reason for that is because you don't want to, you want to keep that strong signal to keep telling your body, burn fat, build muscle, so that you can see this visual improvement in the mirror, okay? How are you going to do that? You need to prepare mentally. You need to prepare socially. Okay. So you want to change, you want to prepare your calendar for 30 days. I'm going to go all hog. I'm going to follow these principles, these 10 ways, and I'm going to make this happen. Okay. Remember, it's only 30 days, not the rest of your life. It's just 30 days. So if you block it off, you'll see really good results, really good results. So after the 30 days, what are you going to do? You're not going to keep doing this because this is not even realistic, but for 30 days, I'm sure you can do it. After 30 days, what we're going to want to do is make sure that we follow these post 30-day recommendations. Okay, you're going to want to keep working out consistently for 3 times a week, full body. That won't change. All right, so you want to keep that in as your tool belt. This is who I am now. This is my new me. I work out 3 times a week. And then the trigger mobility sessions in between. And then what you're going to want to do though with your food is you do want to bring the calories back up. You're going to want to bring the calories back up. You want to titrate them back up as you increase your workout intensity. Your goal after 30 days is to work out with more intensity and eat more food. This is how you're going to build a strong metabolism so that when you do eat your food, you won't get that weight regain. You won't be gaining that extra weight back. You're actually going to stay looking visually, how you want to look. It really does work, but you've got to work on that metabolism. So if this sounds too strict and you don't want to do these 30 days to this degree, then what you can do is just massage them a bit, but at least you've got some principles that you can work with. And I'm going to give you a 5-step action plan that you could do instead. So the first one is, instead of 30 days, have a 90-day plan. Like, you know what, I'm just going to go just a little slower, but I'm still going to be following a lot of these tips. Okay. So you want to set realistic goals. So you don't want to set yourself up for failure. You want to set yourself up for realistic goals and put them into phases. So the first 30 days, I'm doing this. The next 30 days, I'm doing this. And the next 90 days, I'm doing this. This is how you have a business plan, a life plan. This is how you're going to do your health plan. Okay. And what you're going to want to do is make sure that you follow these big rocks. Always consume like whole foods. And you know how you hear 80-20? What about 90-10? Why don't you take it one more step up? Why do we have to be like everybody else? What about taking that one extra? I know you can. The 1+ approach. Do the 90 whole foods, 10, play around, whatever. If you want to have some wine, you want to have some chips once in a while, whatever, you've got that wiggle room of 10, but really just get used to just eating real whole foods. Keep the strength training in, keep the steps in, 10,000 steps a day. And always, when you get that sleep right, wow, it's like you've been at the spa. you will notice a shift in your whole life because your brain will turn on. You will be better to other people. Your skin will look better. The weight will stay off because you're burning fat while you're sleeping. You're going to want to go to the gym. I have to say, sleep is critical. And then you follow this, but then if you start to see things shift, like plateauing, then start to, make some shifts. But don't really stay on the plan. Stay on the plan until things are really not working, and then make a shift, but really give it your best, okay? And then as time goes on, you want to get stronger. You want to keep increasing your workouts. You want to lift heavier weight, okay? You don't want to keep adapting to the low weight. You want to keep adding more weight to get stronger, okay? And so also prioritize that protein. Keep that protein in. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Always do that. And then also I do recommend testing yourself with a body composition. So it's not scale weight we're really looking at. It's what does my body weight consist of? You want to keep it at a good body fat and a good muscle mass. And so I recommend getting a body composition scale. The one I use is Omron, and I step on it every morning, and what you track and what you focus on, you get. So it actually shows me if I'm falling off track or not, because I look at it every morning. It's not like I'm fixated on it. It's like, okay, well, this is what I did last night, kind of threw me off track. No problem. I'll tweak it a bit. But if you don't look at this, you're just shooting in the dark. So body composition machine is like mandatory. They're not expensive. You can find them at Costco. And then remember to keep the protein up. So at the end of this, I actually just really want you to fall in love with being fit and healthy, because when you have this, when you feel this good and you're proud of yourself in the mirror because the work you did, like life is so much better. You're better for other people. You're better for yourself. You can live that long and healthy life. And there's nothing better, nothing tastes better than how fit and healthy feels, literally. So if you like this approach and you want to learn more, I'm available for a 15-minute, 20-minute strategy call where I can actually find out more about you and your goal, how to get there quicker, faster, and maybe give you some tips along the way. And so this is kind of the 9-step plan that I have available for my clients. So I make sure every checkbox is done so that they get the results within 90 days, because it is a plan. So hopefully that has been helpful. I tried to explain it the best way I could. But I can guarantee you that if you follow those 10 ways, you will see a dramatic improvement, visual improvement in all parts of health, how you look in the mirror, your skin, your body fat, everything. So I'm open to any questions if anyone has any.
Thanks, Michelle. Wow, you really gave it all away there.
Yeah, I did. I gave it all away.
Thank you. Ivana had a question in the chat just around protein. Is the protein amount per day?
Yeah, it is. So for example, you're 130 pounds, you want 130 grams of protein per day. And then you want to divide that into however meals you're going to have. Say, for example, I'll give you an example. You're 130 pounds. You would do something like for breakfast, 50 grams of protein, for lunch, 40 grams of protein, for dinner. So that's 50, 90. And then you need another 40. So 50, 40, 30 would be about 130, right? No, 50, 40, 40. Yeah, right? 50, 40, 40. Yeah. So you want to, the morning, you want to have the most protein, because that's the time that the stomach has the most hydrochloric acid to break down the protein. It's going to keep you satiated throughout the day so that you're not stuck to the fridge. You're not thinking about food. You're a high performer. You're able to think and do other things than think about food. So make sure that at least your first meal is real protein heavy. I do 50 to 60 grams of protein for my first meal. And then I just titrate it down throughout the day, because you have less stomach acid throughout the day, and you can start to bring up the carbs near the end of the day to have a really good sleep, because it actually helps to allow for a really deep sleep. So that's another trick that I use called carb loading.
I have a question. I didn't realize that stomach acids were higher in the morning. So if you're having something like easily digestible, say, like some organic Greek yogurt with cottage cheese in there to, bump up the protein content, or a scoop of protein powder, would you suggest like a digestive enzyme to go with something easily digestible like that? Or because acids are higher in the morning, do you think it's okay not to have that?
So again, test, don't guess. So when my clients come to me, I actually can see if they have low stomach acid or not. That's the first thing I do, is do the assessment to personalize it for the individual. But on a broader scale, anybody over 40 has half the stomach acid than they did when they were 18. So I always say that, you know, we're living in a very stressful environment. When you're stressed, your stomach acid becomes dysregulated. Okay. So we know that I would suggest taking a digestive enzyme anyway. And so you could couple it with the type of food you're having. For example, if it's an easy to digest food like a smoothie or a creamy soup, then you're going to have maybe one digestive enzyme. But if you're having like a steak, for example, or a burger, something with meat and, you know, raw vegetables, that would be more difficult to digest. And I would do 2 or 3 even for some people. Some people have very low stomach acid. So we can test for that to see where you're at. But again, if you don't have the stomach acid, you're not going to break down the protein. You're going to have gas, bloating. You'll feel like the food is sitting in your stomach, and you're going to be tired. And you're wondering, why aren't I getting results? Well, it's because your stomach acid is low. And also when the stomach acid is low, you're also not getting the minerals from your vegetables. We talked about that last time. They're not in an ionic form. They need to be in a form for you to use to be able to absorb the minerals from your food. And really, we want to use food as medicine. We want to get away from as many supplements as we can. And we actually want to use food as medicine. We want to use the foods that are grown in your environment as medicine, because it is. Hopefully that's answered it.
Yeah, thank you.
No questions? Wow.
You did a good job. You laid it all out and didn't leave much room for anything else.
I want to give you everything.
Thanks so
much. But again, it's all individualized. So here's where coaching really helps is, you know what? I don't want to mess around anymore. I'm so tired of, what I'm doing isn't working. I'm not motivated. I want someone to just like be my accountability partner and show me the program that's actually suited for me, because you're just tired of feeling tired. So why not hire someone to help you out? Like I have a coach, and it's way more fun doing something with a coach than it is not. So it depends. Like that's what coaching's good for. That, and also the personalized plan just for you. So that's what the benefit of having a coach. There's a question here about sleep. What's a good amount of sleep per night? So yeah, there's a book out there called Lights Out by Wiley S. Smith. I read that maybe 6 years ago. And it was definitive. She wrote like the Bible on sleep. And what she said was, you have to look at circadian rhythm. So during the summer, we need less sleep than the winter time. So I'm just what I'm going to say. So in the summertime, middle of summer, you're about 8 hours of straight sleep. But in the winter, you're about 9.5 of straight deep sleep. Again, if you're not well, you're going to want to get more sleep. If you're very active like me, I'm pretty active. I actually make sure I get 9 to 9.5 hours sleep, just like an athlete. I look at myself like an athlete. Athletes always prioritize their sleep. It's critical. The coaches make them, and they need to, because they need to recover. Because remember, it's the time that you're sleeping is the time that you're recovering. And if you're not recovering, you're only breaking down during the day. And then you feel like you are, because you're tired and you're just grumpy and you're moody, but you want to take care of people, but you're not really feeling like you want to, but you know you need to. That sucks. Sorry, but it's just not good. Get that good sleep in. You notice that really things start to shift around. And would you know that the easiest way to get a good sleep is to get that morning sunlight first thing in the morning within 30 minutes. Because when you get outside within 30 minutes, you allow the sunlight to enter your suprachiasmatic nucleus in the brain, and it starts to run faster. It's the leader of all the hormones, and it tells everything else what to do. But you have to send the signal first. And so if you go outside, you allow that light to enter your retina, talk to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and then everything runs better. It's the start of the circadian rhythm. The body knows, oh, I know what time of day it is. And it starts to make melatonin, which takes about 10 hours to make, so you can release it at night. But your body is so wise. if you give it the right things. And just think about, what do I do? Just think about what our ancestors did. They were a lot healthier and fitter than we are today. If you look at pictures, even 50 years ago, we were lean and healthy. If you look now, that's why I'm out here speaking, because it's just, we got to get back to a natural way of living. It's just not okay. It's not okay. So let's get that sleep and let's mimic our ancestors, because they were healthy and we can be healthy too. That's a good question. Let's get that sleep. Beauty sleep for a reason.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Michelle. I gotta hop off now. I have a meeting in a few minutes, and I think we have some patients arriving at 1:30. But yeah, any other questions can be directed to Michelle. I will put her email in the chat, or you can ask me and I can forward them on as well.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, let me know what you guys want me to talk about. I'm always happy to do that. If you want to dive into more of the fitness, if you want to dive more into the mindset, more into the diet, whatever you guys want, let me know.
Thanks, Michelle.
Have a good rest of the day. Okay, see you.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.